Ain't long, but you know what is. I know what that girl them want. London to Taiwan. I got lipstick stamps on my passport. I think I need a new one. Been around the world, don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you been around the world, don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you
talk dirty to me. 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 Talk dirty to me.
The world don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you been around the world, don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you
talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Cringe Book Club. The ladies are talking at the present moment, so I will introduce them as soon as they're done. Wren is talking to Ishtar about something important. So, they're done. Okay, you can't hear them, but you're about to. So, let me introduce to you my, co-cringe hosts for tonight. We have Ishtar, as always, who has been forced to join me on all of these cringe book clubs since Lena Dunham.
Hello, darlings. I have made a delicious chicken pot pie tonight, and it came out perfectly. I am very happy with myself.
We are also joined by a co-host from MSNBC. She was kind enough to grace us with her presence. Wren is here.
Hey, guys.
And as part of the crew, she was here last time. She read in a magnificent flamingo. She's also going to have a voice part in the voice-acted version of the last story we read from Ray. Mitzi is here. Everybody give Mitzi a warm welcome, because she has a bigger part this time. So.
Well, before we get started, I would like to address something that came up on MSNBC.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What came up? What did Antoine do?
Well, you're about to see, because while I was distracted, one of the security cameras that we put around to keep an eye on Antoine that don't ever work caught this. And because it was a private thing, I couldn't show the actual picture. So I had an artist recreate it for what was going on. And I've sent it to you, darling. If you would like to show it to everybody.
All right. That is adorable.
What'd he do?
You'll see in a moment. It's basically, it answers what everyone wants to know about how Sarah feels about this.
I see. All right. Sarah looks none too happy. Are we going to be hearing something from her?
Well, I don't know. Shortly I'm going to hand over the microphone to her, and you guys can talk to her about that. But this was recreated by the amazing Lizma.
Aww.
And I so much love the rendition that she did for me and Matt.
Yeah, I actually look like a decent-looking person.
You are a
decent-looking
boy.
You are. And you two look so cute. It looks like chibi versions of you.
That's kind of what it's supposed to be, is little chibi versions. I love it.
Well,
I love it so much.
I will leave this up while we say hello to the people who are here ready to cringe with us.
Sounds good.
Now, I don't know if Mitzi didn't show up first because she knew she was going to be on the show. So we actually have someone who hasn't gotten first before. Haster got first and says, also, no, I wasn't stalking. I opened up YouTube and it was in my subscription list. Sure, Haster, we understand. It's all right. You wanted to beat Mitzi. It's fine.
Well, to be fair, I wasn't home yet anyway, so.
Well, Ray got silver again, and Nathan comes in third, with Zeo Gold coming in with honorable mention. So those are our top four. Hello, everyone. Excuse me. And then Miffed Cuttlefish is here. Hello, Miffed Cuttlefish. Long time no see. She says, hello there. Finally, I get to enjoy some adult entertainment after all of the toddler-rated singing, dancing, and playing I do. I'll be back when it starts. Well, we'll be starting soon, so hopefully she's here. Ghost Dog is here. How's it going, Ghost Dog? Steve, how's it going? Says late to the party because we all know the party starts in chat. Woohoo. It's very true. Very true.
Yep.
Malik is here. How's it going, Malik? Mr. Jund made it 2 days in a row. I think that's a record for him. He says, okay, good. I didn't miss anything. Ben C is here. How's it going, Ben C? He says, hi, homies. And then Miff Cuttlefish came back. Said, this reminds me of my ex. I'm assuming she's talking about the intro music, which is fine. So, let's see. Who else is here? That's everybody. It looks like Ben C did say he wants more Lena Dunham. And
No.
Zeo Gold,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, Zeo Gold really quickly comes in with, no, we don't.
Nope.
I would have to agree with that. No, we don't.
All right. So, is everybody done staring at the better looking version of me?
Well, Antoine has a hashtag now. It is hashtag Antoine Ringman.
Antoine Ringman. All right. He will have to answer for that. Now, unfortunately, just like all Cringe Book Club, there is no cameras, so you can't see that Mitzi has already flashed us a bunch of stuff she wasn't supposed to. Wren has already admitted to...
Don't tell them that. Don't make them all want to see it.
Wren has also admitted to us that she's not wearing pants yet again, but she also decided to include that she's not wearing a bra, so that's for you guys to
The question is
fantasize
Matt
about.
wearing pants?
Well, Matt never wears pants. That's...
He really doesn't, and I really love that.
I
Pants
really
are,
love that too.
pants are oppressive. You don't need pants.
Yes, pants are oppressive. And, of course, Ishtar, you all can't see how naked she really is. She just kind of came home, threw everything off. And I do believe when she took off her bra, she
Believe
said
that.
the girls are free at last. So,
A good supportive bra is also a confining bra, and the girls, after, like 10 hours, are like, free us. So I said, okay.
so today we get to read something special. Now, if you guys remember Ray, our very own
Hey.
man squatch, our meme smith, came up with a story involving Antoine, involving Sarah, mainly Sarah, and it kind of left on a cliffhanger. Well, Ray decided he was going to continue on with the story, and that's what we're here for. We have our parts already for myself, for Ishtar, and for Mitzi. Wren, you get to pick some parts, though.
I get to pick.
Yes. Now, there are a couple of parts that you can choose from, because I did ask Ray, and Ray knows that I go into these blind because I like to give honest reactions.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose between a wizard, his boss, so if you can deepen your voice, you can be a wizard, a non-gender being, or a Lovecraftian horror. Now, you can pick one, or you can pick two, or we can just kind of wing it as it goes on.
I could always do Lovecraftian horror. I mean, Snoofles is close to that.
Yeah, I would say so.
And if you hear us munching, it's because Ishtar made dinner and we hadn't eaten yet. So, she made pot pie. You should all be jealous.
Oh,
You
I am
really-
jealous.
Ray, thank you for writing these stories.
Yes, thank
Love
you, Ray.
them.
They're awesome.
Yes.
And we are very honored that you have put so much time and effort into helping to build the lore of these characters.
Exactly. I love the way that Ray writes,
Yeah.
which is why it's not a normal Cringe Book Club. I don't think there's going to be a drink total. But that doesn't mean we won't do another that will have a drink total attached to it. So,
Maybe one of these days after Ray writes like 5 of them, we should get them all compiled into a book. The Chronicles of Sarah and Antoine by Ray Mansquatch.
well, I'm also going to be narrating.
Yep.
So we will. Do we want to get on with this, or are we gilding the lily a little too much? I
Let's
we-
get on with it.
All right, let's get
You're
on
the
with
one
this.
who's babbling.
Well, I'm trying to give you a chance to eat, woman. How's it going, Allie? All right, let's get into this. Now, I am going, because we don't have the beautiful book cover that Ray did for the last one, he didn't know how to do this one. We're just going to have the pages on the screen. So, all right, here we go. Sarah and the Fangirl by Mansquatch. If I say something wrong, Ray, feel free to correct me, because I've already seen words on here that I don't know if my tongue can actually pronounce. Tens of thousands of Zathi elite troops stood in formation, cheering the name of their commander. The arrayed troops were arranged in numerous square formations, checkering the parade grounds of the imperial palace of Zoth. Standing from his balcony, General Crackstor looked over his troops, all of them saluting and chanting his name in unison, causing the very pavement to rumble under their hoof stomps. He had won. His leadership had rallied a small number of military forces and a large number of loyal sons of Zath to his cause. I have no idea what... Sarah, do you know someone named General Crackstor?
Briefly.
Okay. The centaur-like military dictator had just eradicated his last opponent and had seized full power over the empire. Even now, with his most loyal troops cheering his name before all the hover cameras, his loyal henchmen were securing the reins of civic and economic power. He now controlled it all. He smiled a toothy grin and moved forward with all 6 legs to make a speech to the elite troops who made his victory possible. So apparently this is a Loki-style centaur, because they have 6 legs. So Sleipnir had sex with... Sleipnir had sex with a bunch of humans and something happened.
Possibly. Keep going.
I'm going. Can I breathe?
No.
He stepped up to the microphones, which were arrayed at the edge of the balcony for his great announcement. He paused to take in the view of his cheering throngs of assembled troops. He admired their discipline as they made one final hoof clap and chanted his name, then came to a dead, quiet still. They awaited his victory speech. In the distance, the sunset backlit the capital city skyline, now being rebuilt after the harsh conquest. The general could see the construction craft hovering around the taller buildings. From this distance, they were mere gnats among giants. Soon, the general thought, it would be glorious again under his rule.
Your time has come, General.
A clipped and feminine British accent said from behind him. The general had only time to turn to see Sarah, the rider of death, swing her scythe, which was known by its hallowed name, Absolution, and all went dark. An imperceptible moment later, Sarah was gone, and the general was clutching his abdomen, falling over. All those around him... Uh-oh, where'd it go?
What did you do?
I scrolled and I lost my place. All those around him assumed he was having a heart attack and called for medics, but it was too late. Nanoseconds later, in a galaxy far, far away, Elder Matron Chanpara, who had spawned over a dozen of her own daughters, who then went on to spawn dozens more, sat in her richly appointed reclining chair and rested her several eyes. She had lived upon this world longer than most in her community, outlasting all of her mates, which was not uncommon, and sadly, some of her own spawn. She felt weak. It was getting harder to wake, wash herself, and see to her duties, teaching her youngest grand offspring. Her eyes were really tired and heavy when she heard the voice.
Along now. It's your time.
She didn't recognize the accent. In truth, she didn't actually hear it. The meaning was just there in her head. She looked over and smiled as a bipedal pale person with a shock of silver hair stood over her and swung her weapon. It was time. All went dark. Apparently, we just described Cuttlefish's stepmom. Deep in the woods outside of Portland, Oregon, a majestic creature strode through the jungles of the Pacific Northwest. It stood over 7 feet tall and covered in hair. It looked cautiously over the woods, making sure that there were no humans to see it. Squatches like he had survived only by staying out of sight. He knew that he would survive only as long as the hairless apes didn't know he existed. I think Ray wrote himself into the story.
Sounds like it.
Possibly.
He was making his rounds, foraging for food, and pondering if he could work out an agreement with the tabloid photographer for a cut of their few $1,000s they were sure to receive on a blurry picture when something caught his attention. The wind changed and he paused. The Squatch had caught a whiff of native Oregon hipster. The smell was unique and pungent, kind of like patchouli oil. The Squatch ducked low and hid behind a nearby tree. He scanned the forest, focusing on the source of the smell. Soon he found the hairless ape. He had a long beard, a flannel shirt, and hadn't bathed in about a week. He had a backpack and was hiking through the woods. From behind his tree, the giant hairy squatch listened for the hairy, hairless ape to pass by. The hairy, hairless ape. The hairless ape actually stopped and started to fall, clutching his chest. The Squatch watched as a second being showed up. This was the Rider of Death. She spoke to the hairless ape and carried his soul to the afterlife. The Squatch waited for the Rider of Death to leave before continuing his trek. I love his build-up. I love the build-ups that he does. Like, he put so much effort in creating the thought of a world that we were going to see for like a second.
Mm-hmm.
I love how he demonstrated both sides of Sarah. Because it's hard for people to understand that she does have these tender moments. She doesn't like to show them, and she's going to hurt me for saying it. But she has these gentle moments with certain people. And with others, it's very brisk, very business.
Mm.
And, ow! Don't hit me! Then silence. I have a reputation to maintain. Ow. I take it back. She's just mean. Better.
Sarah rode through many more realms and worlds in the next few moments on her trusty steed, Fred, taking tens of millions of more lives until her rounds were done. She was the Rider of Death, and it was her cosmic duty to bring about the end of living things. When their time in this world is concluded, she arrived and reaped soul from body, sending it to the afterlife. She rode her steed rapidly through the barriers between realms and returned to the place she called home. It existed somewhere in the other realm, one of many places between the mortal realm and the higher planes. It was here that she had built her home. She came to a stop and dismounted. Then she placed Fred in his stall with a nice bag of oats, patting him and saying,
Good work today, friend.
She walked into her front room and placed her scythe in its resting place over the door. It was a living weapon, an extension of her being, and it felt proud to be placed above her door, a constant guardian over a being that commanded death itself. Beyond her foyer, and to one side, was her reading room, where 2 leather armchairs sat facing a roaring fireplace. 3 of the walls were filled with bookshelves with thousands of books, placed in precise order upon them. Several tables were placed periodically about the room, with lamps glowing softly. However, the flicker of the fireplace provided the bulk of the light. Oh, hello, dear.
Hello, my love.
The cyberdemon put down the book he was reading and stood. Sarah crossed into the room, and the two embraced and shared a deep kiss. Zeogold says, still can't believe that her horse is named Fred. You
It
know,
was not my choice. It was plague. Blame her.
it always seems to be your sister's fault when something weird happens to you. You can't just admit that you have a goofy side.
Like this is actually one of them. I'm the straight man.
Gotcha. How was your day, babe? Antoine said, placing his hand on Sarah's toned posterior. Her hand covered his, and she said,
Productive.
They kissed again. I have started supper, and it will be ready shortly. I don't think I've ever used the term supper.
Doesn't sound bad.
And I have several of my henchmen working on expanding Fred's corral for you.
They weren't working when I brought Fred there and gave him his oats.
Sarah stated dubiously. They said they were going to be looking for just the right ornaments. I didn't ask them for details. The two embraced for yet another kiss when the doorbell rang. Antoine looked up towards the door and then back at Sarah. She looked equally perturbed at the interruption.
Were you expecting company?
Bloody hell was not, Antoine said as Sarah broke their embrace. Sarah walked to the front door and opened it. Standing at her door was a mortal human girl. She stood maybe 4'10" with short brown hair capped by a strange tinfoil hat. She might have been early 20s. Sarah noted that she had very long life before her. However, she quickly wondered how a mortal came to be here.
Who might you be?
Sarah said with her eyes narrowing. And how in the bloody hell did you get here? We're not in the phone book, you know, Antoine added with frustration. Mitzi.
The death.
You cut out. Try that again?
Yeah,
I'll try that
to-
again. Oh my god, you're her, Sarah, the Rider of Death.
How did you get to this place?
Well, I learned a few spells while studying, and
Did you say spells? Sarah, how many human mortals actually can use magic?
Not many, and frankly, none of them are actually mortal anyways.
cool.
The girl said, not really noticing their conversation.
I've always wanted to meet you.
How do you even know that I exist?
I'm a student at MedTech University, and my major is cryptoarchaeology, and that's how I learned about the Rider of Death.
Cryptoarchaeology, that's
I love that.
alright.
That just sounds like a really interesting major.
I would take that major.
Definitely.
The girl was practically bouncing with excitement as she explained this. She spoke with lots of hand movements and didn't really make eye contact that much. Antoine started to fume at all of this. How did you get to my bloody doorstep?
Out, and I found myself here. I think it was some kind of transportation spell.
Pause,
And I
pause,
was really-
pause, pause,
Oh,
pause,
hold on.
pause.
Start
You
over.
cut out for like the first part of that sentence. Try again.
Well, I did a few spells and tried them out, and I found myself here. I think it was some kind of transportation spell, and I was really eager to meet you, Ms. Rider of Death. I have lots and lots of questions.
She said with a rapid-fire, nearly breathless speaking pattern. Seems like you have yourself a fangirl.
Kind of a fangirl.
With a huff, Antoine turned his attention back to the girl on his doorstep. He towered over her, and she seemed to cower back as he took a very small step forward. He bent down, just a tad, and looked her right in the eye. Look, we're busy. We don't want to convert. We don't want to sign autographs. We don't want to buy your cookies. Well, unless you have Thin Mints. Do you have any of those? The fangirl just shook her head rapidly, a little shaken by his commanding tone of voice. Well, then bugger off! Mitzi.
Mitz?
Did I cut out again?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're having some connection issues.
I hate Discord. But
Let's go.
go.
Oh, sorry.
Let me try that again.
Yep.
Let's go.
Sarah grabbed the girl by the shoulder, and the two disappeared. Sarah reappeared just a moment later, but without the fangirl. She dusted off her hands and stepped back into her home, where Antoine was waiting patiently. I assume you dropped her into the pit of a convenient volcano somewhere.
Simply returned her to her dorm room.
Was it as creepy as I imagined it? You know, conspiracy books everywhere, posters of One Direction and Neil deGrasse Tyson on her wall, and lots of books.
She had a normal dorm room, Antoine. But it did seem much too clean for a person like her. I fear she might be quite obsessive.
Sarah closed her front door. The next morning, Sarah woke up in her lover's embrace. She went about her morning routines and ate her breakfast. She tended to her scythe's cleaning and Fred's needs as her steed, and then set about her daily duty of reaping souls. About halfway through her day's work, she found herself back on Earth. 150,000 humans die each day, along with millions of other large animals, and trillions of bugs, plants, and microbes, making it a regular stop for her. Wait, Sarah? You reap microbes?
Everything has an end.
Aren't you afraid of them getting on you and getting you sick?
No.
It's a good thing you are not a germaphobe.
With the amount of blood and bile and bodily fluids I've had splashed on me over the years, any germophobic tendencies would have died a painful death.
We don't need to know what your nightlife is with Antoine.
Don't be disgusting. Continue.
She came upon her next target. An older man was at the end of his time. He had lived a mediocre life with little to show for it. When Sarah arrived, she found that she was pinned under the frame of his car, which had flipped after swerving to avoid a light pole. He still stunk of whiskey. Fortunately for everyone around him, he managed to avoid other life forms. Well, almost. Sarah quickly pulled the soul of the fly that had smashed into his windscreen before reaching down with her hand to take his soul into the afterlife, when she heard the voice of the fangirl.
I think you cut out again.
Yep. Try saying.
Sorry.
Are you using text?
Push to talk.
Push to talk.
I'm not using push to talk. I'm on my phone.
Okay. So before you say something, try saying okay to get it to register, and then read your line.
Okay.
Go.
Hey, Sarah.
The small female called out and waved to her. She was still wearing the tinfoil hat, and now she had a jacket with her university logo on the arm. A few people looked at her, wondering who she was calling to. Only the fangirl could see Sarah. All things being equal, the Rider of Death was not seen by anyone but those whose time was up. Somehow, this fangirl had found a way to defeat that safeguard. Sarah pulled the soul of the driver into the afterlife and then stood and glared at the girl.
Are you trying to track me down?
Sarah said as she marched over to the girl.
It's right over there.
The fangirl.
More time.
Yeah.
What?
One more time.
Yeah, try it one more time.
My dorm is right over there.
The fangirl said, pointing to the university dorms. Okay. a guy who just happened to be standing by her said, with some confusion.
Talking to you.
Again,
A little bit better.
I'm not. What?
It was a little bit better.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking to you.
The fangirl said with a huff. The confused guy in a Letterman's jacket shrugged and walked off mumbling a rude comment. Sarah sighed. They were far too exposed standing here. Sarah grabbed the fangirl by the arm and whooshed both of them away to an alleyway nearby. Sarah, you whoosh?
no, I do not whoosh. I do not make any sound as we go from place to place. Simply artistic description.
Certainly hear you whoosh, so.
See, Mitzi says you whoosh.
I do not whoosh.
According to Ray, you do.
That is merely artistic license. I do not whoosh.
When they reappeared, the fangirl seemed a little woozy from the sudden relocation. Mortals didn't often handle translocation very well. Sarah towered over the girl and looked down at her with an imposingly stoic look.
Girl, this will be your last warning. It is not wise to tempt the rider of death.
Sarah examined the girl. Her natural time of death was many decades from now. She had a long and potentially successful life ahead of her. However, Sarah did have some leeway with that time frame if this being continued to annoy her. Try again, Mitzi.
Sorry.
One more time.
I'm sorry.
And then just continue into the next part.
Oh. But I just have so many questions. There are so many things I simply don't know or don't understand about what exactly you are and where you come from.
Those are mysteries that will never be solved. Resign yourself to that, or find yourself in the afterlife.
The fangirl went pale at the thought. Sarah just took a step back and left to go about her business. The fangirl stood there alone as the rider of death simply disappeared. Again. She had one more trick up her sleeve, though. Sarah returned home at the end of her rounds. When she arrived, she found Antoine in one of his workrooms, scooting around on an electric Segway scooter with a fez hat on and a basketball in his hand.
Quite the mental image to have.
Oh my
Yep.
god, I love it.
I do not have a Segway. It's a hoverboard. Segway is just so 10 years ago.
But you do have the fez hat.
Of course I have a fez hat. I also have a smoking jacket. Who doesn't have a fez hat? I've never seen his fez hat. I didn't even know he knew what one was. The workroom seemed much larger from the inside, and several of Antoine's red-shirted minions were running around trying to avoid being hit by the basketball as he threw it. I guess we're playing dodgeball. When Sarah arrived at the door, Antoine skidded to a stop on his scooter and shouted over his shoulder to his few remaining minions. "Clean that up, will ya?" A muffled chorus of "Yes, master" came from the room as Antoine made his way to the doorway and found himself in the embrace of his lover. I don't think I've ever had to call him master. I know they call him boss.
I've never heard them refer to him as master, but it's Ray's story. And one of the minions does call him Lord Antoine. I think it's Steve.
Yes, that's true. That's because Steve is a good boy. He understands that, well, I have control over his soul. I don't know how I got control over his soul, but I have it.
There's usually contracts and blood and things like that. Did he offer you blood in a contract?
No, I think he just offered me his soul and I accepted.
Oh.
How was
Shall
your
we?
How was your day, my love?
I saw that annoying fangirl again.
What? Is she stalking you? I haven't had any stalkers since I sent my orc friend after them.
I was there.
They do make a smashing good set of trophies, Antoine said as he and Sarah walked through a hallway with a dozen heads mounted above the doorways.
Most of them are probably female.
All of them taken from Sarah because of Sarah.
They're having a lot of fun with some hashtags in the chat.
I see that. Hashtag haha Sarah go burr. Haha Sarah go whoosh. See, Sarah, you go whoosh.
I do not go whoosh or brr.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
Siri wasn't talking to you. I said Sarah, not Siri. What the fuck? A professional stream here, guys. You have no idea.
Totally professional.
Uh-huh.
All right. Where was I? Oh, they were walking with heads mounted above the doorways. Antoine and Sarah made their way into their living room, and Sarah sat down. Antoine produced a tea set and offered some to Sarah, who gladly took a cup. Sarah.
I came to a crash where a drunk driver had rolled his car.
Sarah retold Antoine the event. Next time, see to it that the car smashes your little friend.
Hush, you know I don't control that kind of thing.
Sarah lectured, wiping while sipping her tea. A cyber demon can dream.
I put the fear of death into her, and if I ever see her again, I'll simply cut her time short. That would be that.
Damned right. The two relaxed in silence for a moment before Antoine asked a question that had been on his mind all day. Sarah, darling, how could that human girl find you?
I don't really know. She actually is a university student, so I suspect she had simply stumbled upon some old books about magic, and through luck, managed to cast a perception spell along with a translocation spell.
And she has something of a lady boner for you too.
I suspect she is simply enamored with the idea of death being personified.
I am simply enamored with the lady who is the rider of death.
Ooh, Antoine with the smooth lines.
Ooh.
I do have them every once in a while. It's not all just my tongue work, thank you very much. Although that is a large part of it.
And your tentacles.
Yeah.
It's always about the tentacles. The next day, Sarah was just about to wrap up her work when she found herself back on Earth for a late entry into her daily roster. It wasn't terribly common, but every so often a name or 30 would be added to their list. 30! Well, that was a bus that had a little too much fun. In this case, someone had changed their mind in the course of a day, and all of a sudden their lifespan shrank to 0. She arrived back on Earth, passing through the walls of reality, charging downward from the sky toward the surface at speeds that were hard to comprehend, let alone record. Goku and Vegeta have no idea how fast she's going.
Nope.
She found her target, a man, falling from a rooftop. He had jumped off of it. Still, he screamed, but not out of doubt, but a simple biological reaction. Sarah galloped alongside him and swung her scythe, pulling him into the afterlife as his body impacted to the ground. She pulled back on Fred's reins as they landed, softly, but solidly on the ground, and Sarah watched the soul of the man ascend. Try again, Mitzi.
Do it again. Hi, Sarah.
Sarah was actually caught off guard by her arrival. She simply hadn't been there before. Then after that, she felt some kind of disappointment and a touch of anger. This pesky girl didn't listen, and now she would have to take her.
I warned you, go.
Try again, Mitzi.
Hear me out.
One more time.
Hear me out.
The fangirl said, raising her hand. Sarah didn't stop. The fangirl opened her notebook and then spoke, very quickly, in a language clearly not meant for a human mouth. She did this much more quickly than a human should have been able to move and speak. She had used another spell to speed up her actions. When the Shame on you, fangirl. Shame. When the fangirl finished what she was saying, her eyes rolled back and a blue beam of light arced from her chest and hit Sarah, very hard, center mass. It actually knocked her off her horse, and she landed flat on her back.
Oh.
Try again.
Oh no.
The fangirl said, closing her notebook and running over to her. Fred reared up and almost stomped the girl with his flaming horseshoes.
Whoa there. This one's mine.
Can everyone hear the fight music? I just hear Street Fighter in the background. Round one! Fight! Sarah swung her scythe and it cut right through the fangirl, who stood there with her eyes clenched tight. It passed right through her, doing no damage. It didn't even impact her physically. Somehow, nothing happened. Sarah swung again, and again, her scythe simply passing through the fangirl as if she wasn't there.
Hmm?
Sarah. Did we lose Sarah?
I
You
don't.
guys didn't hear her speak?
Nope.
We didn't.
Sarah. Impossible.
Absolution spoke quietly to his mistress, sharing that he could no more cut through the rider of death than he could through this mortal. Something about her perplexed the scythe and confounded its ability to remove the soul from the body. The scythe was apologetic in its report. The fangirl opened one eye and looked at the subtly perplexed Sarah, who was examining her scythe, and the scythe was trying to explain to his mistress why he couldn't take her soul. The fangirl could hear the scythe singing to her, and she shouted, Try
Again.
Again, Mitzi.
See?
Hello?
Mitzi?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, there you are.
There we go.
You might want
It
to
worked.
disconnect and reconnect.
Yeah, I might try that.
Please wait for intermission. While we're waiting for intermission, here is customer service Ish to tell you all about the new deals we have for Help for the Guildless.
She's not here right now.
Giddy!
What?
Entertain the people.
The hell am I supposed to do? Mitzi's already back.
I'm back.
Well, fine. Mitzi, your line.
It
For
worked.
this shit. What worked?
Sarah said, grabbing the girl by the throat and lifting her up.
What bloody worked?
Nope. Well,
Try again.
the binding spell.
The fangirl said.
You be talking. I've closed your airway.
Normally, a mortal would be turning blue from asphyxiation, but this girl seemed to be breathing just fine. Except, she wasn't really breathing. Sarah realized something strange about her. Her countdown until death had stopped. She made herself immortal. Dropping the girl in a pile on the ground, Sarah ordered,
Explain yourself.
There we go. I used a binding spell to link you and me together.
she said, rubbing her neck.
What kind of binding spell?
I'm not really sure. I found it in the special collections at my university library.
The fangirl said. Sarah was concerned, as the Rider of Death's magic wasn't supposed to do anything to her. At least, not any magic that a mortal or a common cosmic being might be aware of. There were higher powers and older sources of energy, to be sure. However, care had been taken to keep such knowledge away from the mortals to prevent things just like this from happening. Allowing people to interfere with the operation of life and death would upset the whole nature of the universe.
Why would you have done this?
I have questions.
What?
It's
He's
such
peeked out his microphone. He's laughing so hard.
Sorry. It's such an innocent answer. It's like, why did you make yourself immortal? I have questions.
I have many questions.
So do I.
Sarah said, and grabbed the fangirl and tossed her onto the back of Fred. She nudged her steed into motion, and the three of them charged off. The three of them rode across the planet so fast that the fangirl had no time to process what was happening. One moment they were at her campus, and she was ready to bombard Sarah with all the questions she had built up, and the next moment they were at some flea market outside of Columbus, Ohio. The fangirl wondered how she knew where she was.
How did Columbus so quickly?
Fred can move quite swiftly.
Sarah said,
Come along.
dismounting, taking the fangirl with her.
I know where we were.
One more time?
How did I know where we were?
Maybe you saw a sign or something. We're at the Columbus flea market.
Sarah told Fred to hold his position, gave him a feed bag of oats, and then dragged the fangirl through the parking lot to the flea market. A mob of shoppers were looking through tent stalls with all kinds of goods for sale. The fangirl realized that no one was paying attention to them as they moved. Sometimes they went right between the two talking people, and they didn't get upset or even react. They were invisible.
Can't guess.
Naturally. Now move along.
They came to a good-sized tent with an alternating blue and yellow stripe pattern to it. Around the main door there was a golden-trimmed lining. Inside they found a strange old man in a blue robe sitting at a table with a cheap glass orb on the center. There was a bookshelf opposite the man and several braziers with a good-sized fires illuminating the room. The man looked up and said, I'm assuming this is a wizard.
I assume that is.
Did you want to try and play a manly wizard?
I can try. I don't know how manly he'll sound.
Dig
Madame,
deep,
Madame Ryder, I see you have a pet.
More of a nuisance. One I need your help with.
How come he can see us?
Because
The old man said with a laugh and a cough as his lungs gave out ever so slightly.
I have spent most of my life learning of the arcane and magical things of this world and other worlds.
You're a wizard?
The word you're looking for is arcanist, but yes, I know magic, and I could tell the future, and I could tell that you, little girl, have done something far outside the boundaries of what you should be doing, if Sarah is dragging you around here.
Tell all that? Really?
Really? You are cutting out too,
Me?
No,
Or him?
I am. I'm because I'm
Ah.
pitching the mic.
Ah.
This is why I like using uh, Hangouts. It doesn't. Discord has an unfortunate thing where if you go too high too fast, it'll cut it out because it thinks you're screaming, and it thinks you're screaming at people. So it
Why
doesn't
don't you switch to who? Why don't you switch to Hangouts?
because Mitzi can't use Hangouts.
You can't.
I don't know where my headset is, so I can't connect to my computer.
You
I
don't
mean, I
need
could
to.
try.
You can do it on your phone.
I tried it on my phone once, but that was a while ago and it didn't work. I don't know if it will work
Okay.
now or not.
Well, then we'll just keep going.
That's why we had to do it on Discord.
All right. Where was I?
Sarah Drake.
Yeah, Sarah dragged the fangirl before the old man, who looked at her and asked,
Why are you wearing that stupid hat?
Keeps the CIA from reading my mind.
So, wait. The fangirl that is obsessed with Sarah can read spells, is now immortal, and is a conspiracy theorist about the CIA reading her mind. Ben C says Apple iPhones hate Discord. Yeah, I know.
I do have an Apple iPhone, so.
Zero Gold. The Government of Darkness is from a TV show. It's not real. At least not in the dimension that I exist in.
What is the Government of Darkness?
It's from the show Kamen Rider.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Neither have I.
Zeo Gold also wants to know, fangirl, do you listen to InfoWars?
Time to time.
From time to time. So you are a fan of Alex Jones, huh? All right.
Yeah, I keep those Stephanie Myers books in foil for the same reason. Let's have a look at you.
Ray is trying to kill Matt.
How does that work? What does he keep? What is the tinfoil keeping from the Stephanie Myers books?
The evil that is the Stephanie Myers book.
Granted, I get that, but like, is it gonna seep out into reality? Are we gonna suddenly have Edward walking around all sparkly?
That's why you keep it.
It's in the possession of a magic user. You don't know what the fuck it's gonna do.
Yeah, that's why you keep it wrapped in tinfoil.
Okay. The fangirl tried to understand what he was talking about, but was shocked out of her train of thought. The arcanist slapped the palm of his hand on her forehead, and it started to glow with a soft yellow light. A moment later, the man yelped in pain, yanking his hand back. He started shaking his hand out, saying,
She's got a dose of protection, a dossier of protections,
Doozy.
a doozy. She's got a doozy of a protection spell on her. It almost feels like your aura, Sarah.
That confirms my suspicion.
Turning to the fangirl, she said,
Your bloody binding spell has linked us much more intimately than I care for.
It wasn't supposed to do that.
Supposed to do?
The fangirl looked nervously at her feet as Sarah's icy gaze drilled into her. The fangirl pulled her backpack off and opened it up. She rifled through it for a moment before pulling out a small notebook. She opened it to a specific page and presented it to the arcanist. He was busy waving some kind of object over his hand. It emitted some light that healed the burns on his hand. Clenching his fist a few times, he accepted the notebook that the fangirl had handed him.
Read the spell down in that.
The man took the book and looked at the open page. Then he quietly gasped.
This is a very old stuff, but it feels powerful.
You can feel the spell's power just by reading a copy of it.
The magic of the words. But I can't comprehend this. This is so far beyond me. Mortals have no business with this kind of magic. This writing isn't even human. Where did you find this?
The man demanded of the girl.
Collections in my university.
Bullshit. No mortal university would have this.
The fangirl just shrugged.
Who would know about such magics and how to undo them?
My master would know, or at least he should. He's ancient and has studied higher realms for millions of years.
Can you get an audience with him for me?
The arcanist put the notebook on his desk and started scratching his chin.
That shouldn't be a problem.
The fangirl seemed a little nervous.
What's going to happen?
Say that again?
What's going to happen?
Hopefully, we will find a way to break the spell and separate you from me.
The fangirl grabbed the notebook from the arcanist table and threw it into the open flame lamps that lit the room.
Why did you do that?
I don't want you to break the spell. Shoot, my chemistry notes were in there.
Why would you want to bound the Rider of Death? Do you know what she does every single day?
That's why I did this. I want to know more about her.
You impotent child.
The old man said, raising a hand to her.
Of an action.
Sarah stepped forward.
While bound to me, she's an extension of me.
Explains why she burned my hand.
If this is beyond you, then let us go see your master and see what he can make of this.
That might be best. Take a step back, please.
The arcanist pulled some white dust from his shelf and started sprinkling it on the ground in a geometric pattern. Then he poured some orange liquid on it and started chanting. The fangirl tried moving closer to get a better look at what was happening, but Sarah held her back. The arcanist continued chanting and he started going faster and louder, and then he ignited the powder with the snap of his finger. Out of the flaming design on the ground, a huge black and purple gateway pulled up from the floor. It rumbled as it seemed to both rise and form right out of the ground. At its center was a large black rocky ring. Once the gateway was fully formed before the two of them, the arcanist loudly clapped his hands one time. The black ring began to spark and glow and emit a light rumbling sound. Then, out of the center of the ring, a bright blue and white swirling light erupted and filled the whole ring.
This gateway will take you to my master's sanctum.
Thank you.
Turning to the fangirl, Sarah said.
Let's go.
Sarah dragged the fangirl through the swirling portal.
I just picture Sarah with her hand on, gripping the fangirl's collar, just dragging her along.
More than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Cuttlefish says tetrahedrons are hard to draw in dust, bro. And she also said Nokia would know. They are powerful. They are all powerful. They survive through the ages. You're not
They really
wrong.
do.
No, they survive.
All right, Mitzi, your line.
Oh, yeah. Where are we?
The fangirl said, coughing a bit as she found herself overlooking a vast valley rimmed by distant dark mountains below a red sky. She was on a precipice with the gate on one side and a stony pathway leading down into the valley on the other. Good word usage, Ray.
Excellent.
The air was filled with thick and sulphurous smoke. She found it didn't sting her lungs, but she coughed, more to reflex than necessity.
Welcome to the other realm.
Sarah said as she began dragging the fangirl down a road paved with jet-black paving stones. The path was flanked on either side by two long walls made of human skulls piled loosely. The path was part of a long stone bridge system that a series of eroded stone pillars and snaking towards the edge of a nearby rocky ledge. Below them was a flowing sea of lava, and the fangirl could feel the heat from it. As the two of them walked along the path, the fangirl got a better look at what was on the other side of the bridge. The path was leading to a large gate. Beyond that, she saw the mountaintop fortress that was illuminated only by dim lanterns and bright flashes of lightning, which was striking periodically.
The other realm?
Try again.
This is the other realm?
The fangirl asked as she followed Sarah carefully along the path.
Not the other realm. Other realm. One word. A specific realm that is home to eccentric beings who like to play up the hell dimension motif.
So hell's not real?
Of course it is, but it's nothing like this. It's more of a place of nothingness and torture, and the only thing on TV is C-SPAN.
That is hell.
C-SPAN?
At least they get honest news.
I find people discussing meaningless drivel quite tedious, and it was the first thing to come to mind.
Hold on a second, guys.
Hmm.
Alright. First thing to come to mind. The fangirl stayed silent, pondering what hell must be like, until they reached the great castle's doors. They walked a few steps up to the small waiting area, and then stood before the doors themselves. They were quite large, easily 30 feet from ground to top. The doors were made of thick wooden planks held by black iron plates. Each door had a huge iron ring handle and a great metal gong. Sarah took the hanging mallet and banged on the gong with a great feat of strength. The clanging percussion hurt the fangirl's ears, and the sound made her queasy. After a few moments, Sarah banged the gong again, and this time the door opened inward.
You going in there?
Of course, the doors opened. This is a response for our request to enter.
Cautiously, the fangirl followed Sarah's lead. The two walked in and found themselves in a large antechamber. The walls were made of ornately carved stone blocks. 4 great square columns stretched up into the darkness. The ceiling seemed rather far away, and light by hanging iron round chandeliers, each with many candles. The 2 rows of stone columns created a walkway that led to a larger main chamber. Sarah dragged the fangirl with her as they walked through the antechamber into the main chamber. This room was quite a bit larger, with several rows of columns holding up the ceiling that couldn't be seen. 2 large semicircular bookshelves arced around the columns to create a circular study. In the center of the study was a work table with many open books, some beakers of strange chemicals. A human skull was used as a candle holder, with melted wax having dripped and hardened over one of the skull's eye orbits. Sitting at the table, hunched over an old dusty tome, was a man in a purple-black robe. He didn't look up from his work when he spoke.
You take this one?
Yeah. What brings the Rider of Death to my home?
I'm told you can help me with a little problem.
Sarah said, dragging the fangirl to the front and center. A mortal human girl? He looked up slightly, one eye on them, the other on the book. That's awkward. Then he got a good look at the two, and he focused fully on them. Oh ho! What have you gotten yourself into, Ryder?
Some kind of binding spell that one of your students couldn't quite identify.
The fangirl fidgeted.
Sir, I don't think I'm familiar with you. You have a lovely home here.
The man stood up and was actually quite imposing, reaching more than 7 feet tall, and his robe made him look quite substantial. I am the great cosmic oracle of the 47th quadrant, he said in an echoing voice.
You.
Try again.
Nice to meet you.
The oracle came in close to the girl and put his finger to her mouth. No time to talk, girl. He seemed to look at her and then through her. Finally he said, "You have done something very stupid here. The spell you have executed is quite old."
How old?
Older than nearly everything in creation. Billions of years old. Predating most of the stars in the cosmos. This feels like damn near first-scale magics.
Scale magics?
Try again.
First scale magics?
The oracle sighed and glared at Sarah, who didn't flinch. Finally, he shook his head and looked at the fangirl. "Okay, girl, it goes like this. When things were created long ago, the first beings were made of energy, not matter like you and I and Sarah here. These beings were also magical. What you might call gods. They exercised their power using what we later defined as first-scale magic. This is the oldest form of magic. It's powerful and requires a lot of power to use right." The oracle took a breath and considered. His tongue flicked and it was forked. This person wasn't human. He saw the fangirl's reaction and smiled a bit. His teeth were sharply pointed. After a moment, he continued his lecture. Hold on, scrolling. "I work with what we call second-scale magics. They were derived from the first scale and aren't as powerful. They are the magics for elevated mortals like myself and Sarah here. Still too powerful for mortals like you to use. They came about when the first mortals began to develop after the first planets formed some 10 billion years ago."
Oh, cosmology and magicology all in one lesson.
The fangirl is so innocent. "I hate that term," the oracle said. "Nonetheless, this kind of magic is too strong to be used normally, even by me, and needs some kind of container or conduit to be used by a lower being."
Meaning, there has to be more to the spell, or else my little annoyance would have been vaporized attempting to cast it.
The fangirl frowned at being called an annoyance, but continued anyway.
It wasn't special about the spell. I just found a book that referenced it. It was translated into Sumerian, which was then translated to Latin and then to English. Well, at least the phonetic pronunciations of the words were translated.
What kind of book would have this spell in it? There is no record of first-scale magic being used in the mortal realm.
It was in the special collections at my university.
Don't toy with me, girl.
Maybe it would help if you explained what you meant about power requirements.
The oracle sighed and then rubbed his forehead for a second. "Okay. Magic is divided into 3 scales. First, second, and third. Third-scale magics are the lowest kind. The kind that mortals could be able to use with a few years or decades of practice. They are the weakest, but even they are powerful enough to wound or kill an untrained mortal who gets it wrong." The oracle took a step back and pulled his sleeves back. His 6-fingered hand was bony and his fingers were capped with sharp, pointed nails. Man, he spends a lot. For a manicure and a pedicure.
Oh, stop that.
He flexed his hand for a second and then thrust it forward towards one of the walls. Flicking his fingers opened as he did. A baseball-sized fireball erupted from his hand and smacked into the far wall, splattering into non-existence. "That," he said, shaking out his hand, "was a third-scale spell. In my corporeal form, I can generate enough magical power to gather up enough heat to create a fireball that, if it hit you, might catch your clothing on fire. If I had focused for several minutes, however, I could ramp the power up enough to make the fire hot enough to incinerate you. The fangirl gulped. Second scale magics are used by higher beings or elevated mortals. They are almost always with conduits.
Conduit? You said that word before. What does it mean?
Ray has put some real fucking thought into all this.
Yeah.
God damn, man. And we're only halfway through. We actually may have to do this in 2 parts. The Oracle returned to his desk and started looking for something and then came back. This, he said, presenting a gnarled eagle's claw, is a conduit. This is the claw of Jaom, and it's older than your planet. This object can pull large amounts of magical energy from the higher realms and allow a being, such as myself, to enact some of the second scale magic. Here, I'll show you. The Oracle looked around his office quickly and then pointed the claw at the corner where there was a big brown dog sleeping on a doggy bed. No, don't do the dog. Don't kill the dog. All right.
Press forward.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Jund. I hope you enjoy. Check out the stream when it's finished uploading when we're done tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The Oracle said a short spell in a language humans can't pronounce and pointed the claw. The dog began to change shape, and within a moment it was a brunette woman, sleeping naked in the doggy bed. Then the Oracle said another word, and the woman changed back into a dog. The dog didn't seem to wake up. That is a rather powerful second-scale transmutation spell. Sarah. Try again.
Impressive.
The Oracle put the claw back in his desk and then looked at the fangirl in the eye. She could see that his eyes were not at all human. They were a shocking gold color with hexagonal pupils instead of round. Girl, a first-scale spell like you cast would have required some kind of conduit, or else you would not be alive. Are you sure you didn't use any physical object when you cast the spell?
No. No.
She is telling the truth. She simply spoke in an ancient-sounding language, and we were bound.
Then that means the conduit wasn't physical, but part of another spell. He considered and then waved his hand. No matter. How you cast it. Oh, sorry. I'll redo that. No matter how you cast it. What matters is how we deal with it.
I agree.
First, it's a binding spell, and as such has conditions that it must meet. For a binding spell to exist, those conditions must be unfulfilled. When the spell is cast, the caster would have to declare, either in words or in thought, the condition which would fulfill the spell. So now, girl, what were you saying or thinking when you cast the spell?
I just wanted to spend time with Sarah and really learn about the Rider of Death, what she did, and about her as a person.
Okay. So that's simple. Sarah, just indulge the little twerp and the spell should break.
Oh, joy.
Now, be warned. I said this spell had to be cast through a conduit. That conduit was almost certainly part of another spell. Breaking this part of the spell, fulfilling her needs, presents the risk of triggering or breaking the greater spell. That spell is an ancient and arcane one that is potentially beyond our comprehension. The fangirl felt weak in her knees. Sarah glanced at her. She felt some of her fear through the link. With that last warning, get out! I have work to do. The Oracle waved his hands, and the two of them found themselves in downtown Toronto.
That cheeky little...
Sarah said as she pulled Fangirl out of the path of an oncoming truck. Would it have killed her, though? That's the question.
That is a question.
Sarah returned to her home, appearing at the front door with her guest in tow. Turning to the Fangirl, she said,
Sorry. It decided to move on me. We're going to have to find some place for you to sleep until we figure out how to break this spell you cast.
Okay, I can sleep in a drawer or closet for the time being.
No. Be in a guest room as far away as this intolerable bonding spell will allow.
she's gonna sleep in a drawer. like a cat. Or a pet. Or a dino bird. Mitzi, I'm looking at you. Sarah opened the door and walked in. The Fangirl took in the home with its well-decorated layout. They walked into the reading room where Antoine was reading some novel while drinking from a mug and wearing a fez hat.
Where did you get that silly thing?
I should ask you the same question, Antoine said, taking the hat off and nodding towards the Fangirl.
Oh, her? Seems she went and used arcane magics to bind herself to me for the time being.
So she put a leash on you?
No.
Hello, Sir. I'm Sarah's biggest fan.
If you're such a bloody big fan, then why don't you know my name?
You never came up in my research.
What? Why not?
You peaked your microphone. Try again.
What? Why not?
You did it again!
Why not?
I don't post your pictures on Instagram.
She posts pictures of horses.
That's not my Instagram. It's run by Fred. She's going to be stuck with me for a few days.
Wait. Fred has an Instagram that is the Rider of Death's Instagram. That all he does is post. Fred posts horse porn, horse nudes on Sarah's Instagram. Sarah, you need to get your horse under control. He's posting some really horrible things under your name.
It's not under my name, it's under his name.
Oh.
It's the Horse of Death.
All right.
Hmm.
Can't you leave her out back? We literally have all the space we could ever need out there, right next to my dinosaur.
You have a dinosaur?
I thought you got rid of that thing.
Like I said, we have lots of space back there, and my henchman can keep her in a nice little box or a drawer or something.
Unfortunately, she can't be too far away from me, or she'll just appear wherever I am. Trust me, I've tried.
Faster than the speed of light.
The Fangirl said quietly, remembering the trauma. So she's like an unwanted pet.
You might be able to say that.
I want a pet. You know, one of my coworkers has a pet.
That's not a pet. It's a minion, and it's how we get free mead.
I wonder who we're talking about.
Bravo, Ray!
Very good, Ray. Very good.
Bravo!
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. that. God. Okay, we're gonna get to this little break, and I want to talk about this. Fangirl.
Yep. What about your dinosaur?
I don't remember where I put that.
Will you be able to cope with this?
Sarah said, holding Antoine and looking him in the eyes. Antoine looked at Sarah and then over her shoulder to the fangirl who was making starry eyes at the two of them. What happens if my dinosaur eats her? Okay, alright. Ray, 1. This is absolutely goddamn amazing. You have put so much thought into just crafting a world, thought in how spells work, power levels, things like that. You gave Fred an Instagram, for God's sakes.
Which is pretty awesome.
You have put more personality into these characters than I think we have, and we play them. Like, I get it. Antoine has a personality when he's doing his videos. And he's very snarky, he's very humorous. But you have put emotion into them. Even the fangirl, who doesn't even have a name yet, is just the fangirl, has quirks that really, really kind of give up this innocent, I just want to get to know this person kind of feel to it. You've thrown in jokes, like you being in there, seeing Sarah kill somebody, talking about Wren and Igor being in there. I mean, it's... I completely forgot about the dinosaur thing until it just came up.
Yeah, see, I'm in there. Apparently I'm Antoine's pet dinosaur now.
So it's... Ray, like, for real, man, this is... I can't say anything more than this is absolutely amazing. And
It really is.
I, for one, and I don't know how Ishtar feels about this, I am honored beyond words that you did something like this. Like, adding to our characters, adding to the lore. It's...
I believe I said earlier that I was freaking honored by it.
Yeah, this is amazing. And I'm glad we could share this with everybody.
You should show some of the memes that have been posted in your...
Oh, there are memes?
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
there are memes.
Oh, yeah, there are memes.
Of course
There are memes.
Of course there are memes.
Of course.
All right, I will hit the meme channel.
There are a lot of memes.
Okay, so we're talking about Man Squatch.
And he's blushing.
All right. So I will scoot this over so we can just do it this way. We'll just go through the memes. See, this one I don't see as true because now this story itself not cringeworthy. There are some cringe bits in it, not cringeworthy. Your trisexual stories very cringeworthy. So this is it works on both levels. Man Squatch is writing and good story. Yeah. This is definitely a true one.
So many.
Finally meet a pretty woman. It's writer, or Sarah, the writer of death. Oh no, Sarah.
No, you bloody will not, you old man. Just wait.
He's coming for you, Sarah. He's happy about it. He's gonna sniff your hair.
He's going to try. I should have raped him years ago, but... Look. I don't actually want to touch him.
It's the fangirl. That's a good one. Uh-oh. Sarah, I think they know you have a tender side.
No, they assume I have a tender side because that is the way of humanity, to believe there is always an opposite duality or nonsense like that. Hello?
I'm still here.
Hello? Did you
It's
cut out?
No, we're still here.
There
Ah,
you go. Now we can hear you.
Oh.
yeah.
Sarah. Hillary's been texting you?
I've told her before to stop calling. I'm not an assassin.
I mean, she's not saying to kill someone. She's just saying that they need to be suicided.
I don't care.
Freud would like to have a word with you. Some random hipster talking about the Rider of Death. Trust me, I was there. Zoidberg is your boss? Jesus Zoidberg?
No,
You sure?
I don't have a boss. Had a boss, do you really think I would put up with as much as I do?
Oh, they shot the fez. That's not cool.
Yeah, I love this one. It's mother and daughter in perfect harmony about the fez.
The silver-haired gal keeps showing up, clapping, and calling me Liberty. Oh. Zio, when you wear the outfit your girlfriend bought for you. Sarah, why did you buy him something like that?
I got it for a very good deal.
You do know what he's going to do with that.
The person who was wearing it died. Nobody's going to get hurt.
It's got something that looks like an axe and a chainsaw.
It's fine. He never uses something like that. We put it in a corner and forget about it.
Sarah, when the fangirl does magic. They can't do that. That's illegal. Heresy. Why did you make yourself immortal? I had questions. Sarah, upon finding out the fangirl is immortal, we've been tricked, we've been backstabbed, and we've been quite possibly bamboozled. I don't know if you've ever used that word before, Sarah.
I've not, no.
I don't understand this one. It's a very cool scene. I don't understand it.
I don't know.
When Antoine tries to say something nice to you, you are more intelligent than you have ever been given credit for. Yeah, that sounds like something I would say.
Yes. Yes, it does.
God, how many more are there? There's a ton.
Yeah, we may want to come back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is quite a few of
Okay,
them.
there's only a few more. All right. Sometimes I stagger even myself. The absolute audacity of this bitch. I'm pretty sure that's Sarah talking about the fangirl.
Either that or that's someone from Common Rider who doesn't like the fact that Sarah said they weren't real.
Sarah's boss. Why is it when something happens, it's always you three? Sarah, Antoine, one of the minions. Believe me, Professor, I've been asking myself that same question for 6 years. Oh, and the last one is just Ben throwing it in there. I'll share it, it's funny. Poor Gary Busey. Alright. How long
They just
is
threw
this?
another one in there.
Yeah, but that one is not stream
No.
friendly.
No.
Alright, so this next part is a little long. I think we should actually stop here and do a second part to this. We're just over halfway there. So we'll have to do a second one. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm
Yep.
fine with that.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, thank you guys. Thank you three for joining me.
It was fun.
Yeah,
It was
I'm,
fun.
I am completely blown away by this, Ray. I'm so glad you took. I'm so glad that you sent this to me.
Ditto.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Ishtar and Sarah, for joining us. I know it's a little difficult. Maybe next time Mitzi will be able to find her headset so we can do it through
Hangouts.
Hangouts, so no one will cut out. And thank you, Wren, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join in and be a wizard.
I tried. Next time when we get to the Cthulhu or ancient monster, that'll be more fun.
Oh, you have one for the ancient monster already?
Uh-huh.
All right. And I want to thank part of our crew. Thank you, Mitzi, for coming in. Thank you for doing the part of the fangirl. And
But you're welcome.
and thank you for supporting the channel and things like that. So, you guys, if you want to become part of this, if you want to do a voice or you think you got the acting chops for it, the bar is not very high, as you can see from how professional this stream is. There is a link to my Patreon down below, and you can help support the channel, become part of the cast or the crew, and you will get to be pulled on here and take part of it. And we will continue this next time. Now, I don't know if it'll be next week because we start our busy week busy schedule next week. So I will keep you guys updated throughout the time of when everything is going to go down. So thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody put some love in the chat for Ray. He definitely deserves all the praise he gets for this.
Yes.
And I hope you guys are eager for the next one just as much as I am. So we will all see you guys next time.
Later.
Bye.
That you get on international first class seat on my lap, girl, riding comfortable. Cause I know what that girl them need. New York to Haiti, I got lipstick stamps on my passport. You make it hard to live. Been around the